Nora, thanks. With us now from Capitol Hill, Arizona Senator John McCAIN. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie.
Should the president's speech reassure the Israelis?
Speeches are excellent. Policies are not so good. From the beginning, when the president insisted on a settlement freeze as a precondition for talks between the Israelis and the Palestinians, the relations have been worse than they have ever been. Charlie, suppose that there was a country in our hemisphere that was dedicated to, quote, wiping us off the map. They were developing a nuclear weapon, and at some point we didn't have the capability to remove that threat, but we had to rely on another ally to do that for us. That's basically the situation that the Israelis may find themselves in, and I would also add that we were surprised when Pakistan acquired nuclear weapons. We were surprised when North Korea acquired nuclear weapons. So what the president's asking the Prime Minister of Israel to do is to rely on his judgment as to when that force may be necessary. And by the way, the sanctions which the president praised, which I praise as well, in the view of all of us, have not deterred the Iranians from the path that they're on, and that is acquiring a nuclear weapon.
Do you think the Israelis should take action now, Senator?
I think that's a judgment to be made by the Israelis, but the Israelis see, even though these sanctions have been harmful to the Iranian economy, the Israelis see the Iranians on a steady path to developing a nuclear weapon, and they have pledged to, quote, wipe Israel off the map. They have committed acts of terror throughout the world, including here attempting in Washington, D.C. to assassinate the Saudi ambassador. So we should have no doubt about the nature of the regime in Iran.
The president seemed to go some distance in this speech to say, quote, why is it that despite me never failing to support Israel on every single problem that they've had over the last 3 years, there are still questions about that? He even went to say, we have Israel's back. Is there some distinction that you know that separates where the president is and where the prime minister is today at this moment?
Well, the evidence is that just a week or two ago, both the president's national security advisor and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff traveled to Israel, trying to get Israel to pledge not to attack Iran. And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff stated that Iran was, quote, a rational nation. That's an interesting view of a rational nation, and also said that the Iranians had not decided whether to assemble whether to have a nuclear weapon or not, and while they are assembling all the components and sticking them into underneath a mountain so they wouldn't be destroyed. So there's very little doubt in my mind anyway about what Iran's intentions are.
The reference I made to the quote was in the Atlantic magazine, not in the speech. Mm-hmm. May I turn to politics for a second? We've got Super Tuesday coming up.
Sure.
If Romney wins in Ohio and wins in Tennessee, does that pretty much make it over as far as you see?
I think it does, but with these super PACs and the candidates' ability to continue to be funding, by the way, it's the most outrageous Supreme Court decision in my view, and it's just disgraceful that I think they will still be able to continue. But I hope that at that point, most of us would declare or believe that it's over and start focusing on the real adversary, and that, of course, is winning the November election.
One question about Rush Limbaugh, who is obviously a prominent radio personality. Does he have some power within the Republican Party?
Sure, absolutely he has influence because he has a strong conservative base. I know that, but those statements were unacceptable in every way and should be condemned by everyone, no matter what their political leanings are.
And so are you satisfied that those Republican officials have gone far enough in condemning these statements?
Oh, I'll leave that up to pundits like you, Charlie, but it is totally unacceptable.
Senator McCain, there's also a movie that's this week. You're not going to look at it. Why are you not going to see a movie about your campaign?
Because it's based on a book that is full of unattributed quotes, things that are absolutely never happened. And if it's based on that book, which I was briefed on, then of course it can't be accurate.
Senator, it's always good to have you in the program. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Charlie.